and that is, following the My Strategic Plan methodology, can you better explain the difference between organization-wide strategies and strategic objectives? Ultimately, why is this, the organization-wide strategy, needed?
So I'll answer that question. That's a great question. The overarching strategy for the organization really is the organization-wide strategy is the overarching strategy for the organization. It may be for many years or it could be year by year, but you have to kind of look at the overarching as the umbrella, or as maybe the mantra for the year would be the organization-wide strategy. And it could be the typical ones such as customer intimacy, product leadership, or low-cost leadership, or those are the typical overarching strategies for organizations, and then actually develop your strategic plan based upon which of those you are. The other thing, too, is the organization-wide strategy could be year by year. You know, what is the focus of the year, so everybody throughout the whole organization knows actually what is your focus for the year. So it could be maybe building a foundation for your organization if you're new, or it could be actually establishing processes and really defining our processes so you can capitalize on that, or it could be growth through the U.S., growth through the internationally, or something that you're really focusing on so everybody knows that is the mantra for the year. Now the strategic objectives, actually those I look at as mini strategies within each of the four balanced scorecard perspectives. So it would be a mini strategy for customers, for your financial, for your operations, and your people. But basically, those strategic objectives are actually linking your mission from where you are right now to your vision of where you want to go. And then actually, you have the strategies for each of the perspectives and that's supporting your organization-wide strategy or your umbrella strategy or your mantra for the year. Do you have something to add, Erica?
Yeah, adding to that, and we've just been talking a lot about this lately as well, is organization-wide strategies tend to be the most confusing for folks, and so that in that instance, you might consider just keeping them drafts until you can really get some clarity around them. But as Nancy mentioned, the intention behind org-wide strategies are to be one of those three Porter-based, Michael Porter, the king of strategy, value-creating strategy. So what is our value, our primary base for delivering value and competing in the marketplace? So customer intimacy, product leadership, or low-cost leadership, or best price, sometimes people say as well. So we can get into all the details on that. Of course, it gets a little bit probably too maybe, and sometimes feels a little bit too academic for this particular juncture. On the My Strategic Plan site, there's a whole bunch of examples related to those three things that I just mentioned. But let's kind of give ourselves a little bit more of a mental picture on this. I like to think about org-wide strategies as guardrails. And they're the guardrails that tell you what's in and what's out. So the guardrails between where we are today and our future state, that vision. So one of the great org-wide strategies, and I think this is something that is actually in Jim Collins' new book, Great by Choice. He has named org-wide strategies a SMAC recipe, which I think is a great, he does all sorts of great branding around business terms. At any rate, one of the items for Southwest, that's one of their org-wide strategies, was fly only 737s. Low cost, their primary base for competing is low-cost leadership, and they have some very specific statements around what that means for them. And that's in Jim Collins' book. So it's just a great example of sinking your teeth into what org-wide strategies really are. And my recommendation would be to not gloss over this, but rather it can be a very, very helpful set of guidelines, a set of umbrella statements about helping you figure out what's in and what's out. So guardrails is your vision, is your mental picture, for org-wide strategies. Strategic objectives, on the other hand, are kind of those mileposts, those are long-term. We like to think long-term. They provide that structure for your plan. It's what you cascade goals off of. Of course, those are the terms that we use. Use your own terms. And they are those things that are those midterm statements, as Nancy mentioned, between your vision and where you are today. And we like to see them balanced out because that creates the balanced part of your balanced scorecard. So good question. Hopefully that gives you the mental picture between what those two items are. Certainly love to see them connected because they are very connected to make sure that your whole plan is holistic. So